Chula Vista, California. January 7, 2021. A Thursday evening. The temperature dropping, the neighborhood quiet, the kind of ordinary winter night that leaves no memory in anyone who lived through it, because nothing extraordinary was supposed to happen. A family lived in a house on that street. 3 children. A marriage that had been slowly coming apart for over a year. And a woman who had spent the last several weeks making quiet, careful preparations for the moment she would finally be free of it. At 5 o'clock that afternoon, she picked up her phone and called a law office in Chula Vista. She had found them, done her research, decided they were the right people to help her start the legal process of ending her marriage. The receptionist who answered, Destiny Johnson, testified later that she spent several minutes with the woman on that call. She described someone warm, composed, and absolutely certain about what she wanted. She described a woman who said the separation had been attempted before, that it had not gone well, and that she was frightened of what her husband's reaction was going to be when he found out. She told the receptionist she loved her children more than anything. She made an appointment. She never kept it. At 8:15 that evening, she sent a message to her family through Facebook Messenger. It was the last communication anyone who loved her ever received. Sometime after that, a neighbor's security camera picked up 9 loud bangs coming from the direction of the house. Not confirmed as gunshots, the recording quality was too poor for the FBI to make that determination definitively. But 9 loud bangs. On a quiet January night. In a neighborhood where nothing extraordinary was supposed to happen. She has not been seen or heard from since. Her body has never been found. The trial of her husband began March 9, 2026, 5 years, 2 months, and 2 days after she made that 5 o'clock phone call. This is Case Analysis Bureau. This video covers the complete case, who Maya was before January 7, the marriage that became a trap, the Spellcasters, the secret recording, the 9 loud bangs, the missing gun, the 11 hours her husband disappeared with their 4-year-old the following morning, and what the prosecution is now presenting to a jury in San Diego County Superior Court. The trial is ongoing. No verdict has been returned. Stay subscribed, we will cover every development as it happens. Before we go any further, tell us in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to hear from you. And hit subscribe right now so you are notified the moment this jury returns a verdict. This trial is happening right now and we will be here for every day of it. Maya Millete was born on May 1, 1981, in the Philippines. She grew up in Honolulu, Hawaii, where she attended Admiral Arthur W. Radford High School and later graduated from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. She was the kind of student who made things look effortless, organized, disciplined, quietly determined. She built a career as a civilian contract specialist for the United States Navy, eventually working at the Naval Information Warfare Center in San Diego. She had federal clearance. She was trusted with the work of a government institution. She was, by every measure, competent, independent, and deeply professional. She was also the kind of mother whose absence from a family trip would have been noticed immediately. 2 days after she disappeared, the family had been scheduled to travel to Big Bear for her daughter's birthday. She had planned it. She was looking forward to it. The idea that she would have walked away from that trip, from those children, from that celebration, without a word to anyone was, to everyone who knew her, not a possibility. Her sister Marie-Chris Druelet has been her public voice since January 8, 2021, the day she filed the missing persons report after Larry refused to open the locked bedroom door and the room was found empty. Marie-Chris told Court TV that Maya had said directly, "If anything happens to me, look at my husband." She said it plainly. She named the person. And then she kept going, kept making plans, kept trying to navigate her way out of a marriage that had become dangerous, because she had 3 children who needed her to keep going. Maya Millete was 39 years old. A Navy contractor. A daughter of the Philippines. A woman raised in Hawaii who built a life in Southern California and loved her 3 children with the kind of fierce, present devotion that made her absence from that Big Bear birthday trip the first thing everyone who knew her pointed to as proof that something was catastrophically wrong. In late 2020, the Millete marriage crossed a line it could not come back from. Maya had been searching the internet for divorce attorneys, child support calculations, and mortgage affordability, the practical architecture of a life lived alone. She had been to a marriage therapist. She had, according to friends, made the decision and was working toward it carefully, methodically, with the same organized precision she brought to everything in her professional life. A judge later ordered those therapy records released to both prosecution and defense, the first time in this case's history that the legal presumption of death, triggered by 5 years of silence, changed what the court could access. Larry's search history in the same period told a completely different story. Investigators found searches for Rohypnol, a powerful sedative. Searches for hemlock. Searches related to subliminal audio messaging, techniques used to influence a person's behavior without their awareness. He was also looking for ways to make her stay. He left a written review for one spellcaster, noting, "She is kind, professional, and courteous. My casting has not yet manifested, but I am really hoping and counting on it." He spent $1,154 on Spellcasters between September 2020 and January 7, 2021, the day Maya disappeared. The messages started as attempts to make her fall back in love with him. They escalated steadily. By December 2020, investigators testified, he was asking spellcasters to have Maya incapacitated. To have her suffer an accident. To have her break bones so she could not leave the house and would become dependent on him. District Attorney Summer Stephan described those messages in a press conference as displaying his homicidal ideations to harm Maya. The spell purchases stopped on January 7, 2021, the day she vanished. The following day, his messages to the same spellcasters shifted entirely to placing hexes on the man he blamed for his failing marriage. In October 2020, Maya secretly recorded an argument between the two of them. That recording was played in court during the preliminary hearing, the first time the public heard her voice directly. In it, Larry confronts her about what he believes is an affair with a coworker, asking about team projects and late nights and what they were doing at 7 or 8 in the evening. Maya responds calmly, asking why he would say things like that. The recording is quiet and painful. It is the voice of a woman managing a man she has already decided to leave, being careful, being measured, trying not to make things worse. A friend of Maya's testified that on at least one occasion Larry had choked her until she lost consciousness. Another friend described observing handprint bruising on her body. The pattern was documented, witnessed, and known to the people around her. Larry Millete told investigators he was willing to sell his soul to keep his wife from leaving. He sent a text on the afternoon of January 7 that investigators described as one of the most telling pieces of evidence in the entire case. He wrote, "I think she wants me to snap. And then, I am shaking inside, ready to snap." He sent that text the same afternoon Maya called the divorce attorney for the first time. The same day she made her appointment. The same day he had been monitoring her movements closely enough to know, in real time, exactly what she was doing. If you are still here, drop "I'm still here" in the comments. And while you are there, the spellcaster messages stopped the same day Maya disappeared. What do you think that timing tells us? Hit the like button too. One tap puts Maya's story in front of thousands who have never heard her name. On the night of January 7, 2021, a neighbor noticed something unusual. The Millete children, ages 4, 9, and 11, were outside playing after 10 o'clock at night. A cold January weeknight. One of them was in a wetsuit. Detective Vicente testified that a neighbor described the scene as very unusual, children outside that late, in those temperatures, with no apparent adult supervision. An investigator said, "I believe there was some sort of fight and he sent the kids outside so they could continue their argument." At 9:57 that evening, a neighbor's security camera picked up 9 loud bangs. The FBI analyzed the audio. They could not confirm whether the sounds were gunshots, the recording quality was insufficient. But 9 distinct percussive sounds, captured from the direction of the Millete property, on the same night Maya sent her last message and was never heard from again. The following morning, at dawn on January 8, Larry was captured on surveillance video backing the family's black Lexus GX 460 into a position where the rear of the vehicle could not be seen by any camera. He later told investigators he was loading tangerines and trail mix. At 6:45 that morning, he left the house. He left his phone behind. He took only his 4-year-old son. He was gone for 11 hours and 21 minutes. His employer called. His father called, texting him to turn on his phone because his boss was looking for him. The phone stayed off. There was no response. When investigators asked him where he had been, Larry said Solana Beach. When they showed him a map and asked him to point to where he had gone, he indicated Torrey Pines State Beach, 4 miles south of where he had said. Investigators reviewed surveillance footage from both locations and found no evidence of him at either. State park officers and lifeguards had no record of seeing him. The vehicle's own data system showed a navigation event for the family home address approximately 2.5 hours before he returned, meaning he had been somewhere at least 2.5 hours away from Chula Vista for an extended period of that morning, with no phone, with a 4-year-old in the car, with no verifiable alibi. When Maya's family arrived at the house on January 8 to check on her, Larry told them she had been locked in a room by herself since the previous evening. They came back the following morning and insisted he open the door. The room was empty. There was no sign of her. No note. No explanation. Her car was still in the driveway. Maya's cell phone, her Navy Federal Credit Union card, and her Department of Defense identification card had all been missing since the night of January 7. Since that evening, there has been no withdrawal from any of her bank accounts. No use of her credit cards. No contact with her children, her sister, her parents, her friends, or any colleague from her years of Navy service. No proof of life, of any kind, in more than 5 years. Larry Millete did not call police to report his wife missing. He did not participate in any of the search efforts that began in the weeks and months that followed. He did not join any of the dozens of volunteer searches that covered the Glamis Sand Dunes, the Salton Sea, Lower Otay Lake, Fish Creek, Anza Borrego Desert State Park, National City, and an abandoned golf course in Chula Vista. He stopped cooperating with police on February 3, 2021, after hiring an attorney. He was arrested on October 19, 2021, 9 months after Maya was last seen, and charged with first-degree murder and illegal possession of an assault weapon. Among Larry Millete's registered firearms was a Smith & Wesson .40 caliber handgun. When investigators executed a search warrant, that specific weapon was not at the property. It has never been recovered. Its location remains unknown. In May 2021, a gun violence restraining order was obtained to remove Larry's remaining firearms from the home, the court finding they posed a specific danger to the children in that environment. For more than 3 years after Maya disappeared, those children lived with Larry's parents while their father sat in the San Diego County Jail awaiting trial. In August 2024, a judge transferred legal custody of all 3 children to Maya's sister Marie-Chris Druelet. They are now in the care of the family that has been searching for their mother since January 8, 2021. The prosecution's case is built without a body. That is not, under California law, an obstacle to conviction. In their preliminary hearing arguments, prosecutors cited a 1977 legal precedent establishing that the fact a murderer may successfully dispose of the body of the victim does not entitle him to avoid prosecution. A missing body, the prosecution argued, is itself a form of circumstantial evidence, because it is highly unlikely that a person suffering a natural death would dispose of her own body. The absence of Maya Millete from every aspect of her own life for over 5 years, combined with no proof of life of any kind, is the foundation of the prosecution's argument that she is dead and that Larry Millete is responsible. In January 2026, on the 5-year anniversary of Maya's disappearance, a judge ordered the release of records from the marriage and family therapist who had treated her. Under California law, a person who has not been heard from in 5 years is legally presumed dead. A personal representative of the deceased would normally be required to authorize the release of confidential therapy records, but because no such representative exists, the court ordered them released directly to both prosecution and defense ahead of the trial. Larry Millete called the CBS 8 newsroom from jail on the 5-year anniversary and spoke briefly to a producer who had reached out requesting an interview. He declined to comment publicly. The trial began 5 days later, on March 9, 2026, at the South Bay Courthouse in Chula Vista. Judge Enrique Camarena denied defense requests to move the trial to a different venue. Larry Millete faces 25 years to life in state prison if convicted of murder, plus a separate felony count for the assault weapon found during searches of the property. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. 2 days after she disappeared, the family was supposed to be in Big Bear. Her daughter's birthday. A trip Maya had planned and was looking forward to. The children went without her, or did not go at all. The birthday happened without the person who had organized it. That is the detail that stays with you. Not the spellcasters, not the audio recording, not the 11 missing hours. It is the birthday trip. The specific, ordinary, irreplaceable thing she was going to do with her children 2 days after January 7th. The thing that was already on the calendar. The thing that required her to still be there. Marie-Chris Druelet has been fighting for her sister every day since January 8, 2021. She has spoken at press conferences and given interviews and sat through years of court delays and legal proceedings and the long, grinding weight of a case that moved at the pace of the legal system while her sister remained missing and her nieces and nephews grew older without their mother. In August 2024, those children finally came home to her. She is raising them. They are her priority and Maya's legacy at the same time. The trial is ongoing as of the date of this video. It is expected to last approximately 3 months. Every significant development will be covered by Case Analysis Bureau as it happens. Maya Millete. Born May 1, 1981. Last seen January 7, 2021, in Chula Vista, California. A Navy contractor. A daughter of the Philippines. A mother of 3 who made an appointment with a divorce attorney at 5 o'clock on a January Thursday. Her body has never been found. Her name deserves to be spoken. Her children are being raised by a woman who never stopped looking for her. She deserved to come home. Before you leave, say Maya's name in the comments. Then tell us, this is a nobody murder trial. No physical evidence of a crime at the home. No confirmed gunshots. A missing gun. A missing woman. Does the prosecution have enough? This jury is deciding right now. Subscribe to Case Analysis Bureau and turn on your notifications. The moment a verdict is returned in this courtroom, you will hear about it here first. If this video moved you, share it right now. Marie-Chris Druelet has been fighting for 5 years. Help her make Maya's name travel.